Like, we're gonna say what we want. We're gonna go skinny dipping in the creek. We're gonna like do whatever we want, and it's gonna be just kind of like playtime. We're gonna go play and not worry about the rest of the world for a while.
Mark Cox,
Yes,
we are remote right now.
we are
What
very, very remote.
what do you think the Mark Cox,
Yes,
we're we're remote right now.
we are very remote.
What do you think would be different if we recorded this podcast in a shared space?
The technology would be easier. We would be in the same screen, which would make our two backgrounds probably much more congruent. We would be experiencing the same weather, which means that one of us would be wearing something different. It would be more fun because there would be the physical energy of the both of us in the space. I have this hunch that you probably would have already like hit me at least once by this point in this process trying to get this going. Ooh, the most fun part that we would be able to not talk about doing things together, but we could actually go do them, right? It would be like, hey, let's talk about what happened out at the river the other day. Well, let's just go down to the river. Let's do that. We could talk about what we enjoy doing, or we could talk about the foods we're eating, but we could actually experience it together. I think the the idea of experiencing something with someone else and having a joint experience of something is exceptionally powerful. And though we can experience this conversation together, we're still drawing so much on what has happened to each of us outside of this space that it's not directly as tied to this space as what things might be if we were together in person. Because the things we would be doing and experiencing would be the same. There'd be a shared experience there that we just don't have and can't have right now.
Do you remember experiences better when they happen IRL? Do they imprint better on your memory?
You're going to have to define the question because I'm not sure that I would label anything an experience that doesn't happen IRL.
The hot take. Love it.
Like, it didn't happen. You can have dreams and you can have fears and longings, but like, it's not in real life. It didn't happen.
You are a talented vocalist and singing coach who helps others to literally find their voice. How does singing or making music together in intentional IRL settings help us to grow individually and also to bond as a group?
There's very few things in life that are more vulnerable than singing in front of someone in real life. It's an extremely vulnerable activity. It kind of feels like you're kind of in some way standing there naked in front of someone. You have to be in a place where that feels okay, right? So either that there's a sense of relationship or there's a sense of distance between you and that other person that actually makes that feel okay, which is why some people are okay with only singing in front of their friends, well, as other times people are fine singing on stage in front of strangers, but if they know there's a friend in the audience, it's like completely a different thing. Whenever there's vulnerability, there's also the opportunity for connection. And you don't get the opportunity for connection without first taking a step of vulnerability, right? You have to extend and invite being touched at a deeper level before someone can actually do that and reach out and impact you in that way. There is a cost benefit, if you will. It's a bit of a gamble. And there's some people that, based on some of the previous things that have happened to them in their past, it might feel more vulnerable to them to sing, or it might feel perfectly fine and normal to them to sing. Singing with other people is really a microcosm of what I consider to be just like the art of connection at a holistic level with anyone, with whatever the relationship is and whatever that's like. The idea that there's layers to each of us, and as we peel back a layer, then we invite that level of connection. And when that level of connection feels good and feels secure, then I might peel back another layer, right? And then I invite that connection when I do that. And so there's increasing vulnerability, there's increasing connection. With singing, the act of going from not singing to singing is actually a pretty big leap. And there's further leaps because now it's, inviting someone in my work when I'm vocal coaching, I'm inviting them to go from one kind of singing to another kind of singing, a more vulnerable kind of singing. I spent some time doing a lot of the technical work of hold your mouth this way and voice placement and breathing and all the stuff. And I still do that. Those are still really important building blocks to singing. But what I found to be the most effective is to dig into where they are at in their vulnerability and how okay they are peeling back the layers. And when there's a particular high note or there's a particular phrase or there's a particular part of a song that just feels exceptionally vulnerable, that's going to be their sticking spot. We take the approach of going, okay, what are you afraid of here? What's the fear? Let's name it. Right. And we work through it that way. Ali, you don't know anything about the idea of singing being vulnerable, do you?
I know something about it.
Why don't you sing a little bit for us right now and we can just practice this.
Jungle fire! What happens when we sing together? Is there anything chemically that happens?
I love choir music, and which is obviously a lot of people singing together. Um, and there's been studies done where everyone in the choir is hooked up to a heart monitor. Um, and so as they begin to sing, what the heart monitors have detected is that their heartbeats start to lean and eventually become one heartbeat, the entire choir. And they're not touching each other, they're singing together. There's some physiological things happening, like they're breathing at the same time, right? And there's some things that are unified in the breath, but their heartbeat is aligning in a really specific way when they sing together. So there's something definitely chemically that happens in our bodies as we begin to sing together that aligns us together and brings us closer together. It creates a common experience.
You're already speaking about connection, even in the context
Mhm.
of singing, but you're actually a connection coach
Mhm.
who helps women to truly heal from toxic relationships. How do you design intentional IRL experiences for women to create bespoke healing
Mhm.
conditions?
Really carefully and very specifically, and always extremely tailored to the individual. It's really important to be trauma informed and to be keeping an eye on what the trauma triggers are for this individual when we're embarking on an in-person experience, like a one-on-one retreat is what I'll do with some people. The goal in a lot of what I'm doing is a retraining of the nervous system because the nervous system doesn't read safety as safe, it reads familiarity as safe, which is why, in some cases, a lot of these women have had this long string of relationships with toxic men. It's the kind of masculinity that they're used to, that is familiar to them, and familiarity reads as safety to my nervous system. So when I'm spending time in session with these women, what we're really working on is kind of an exposure therapy to go, what happens when you are interacting with masculinity that hears you? What happens when you can feel seen, when you feel heard, when you feel held in who you are, both in the things that you like about yourself, but also in the things that maybe about yourself that make you uncomfortable. And those can all be held in tandem together. when we're embarking on an in-person retreat, that's gonna be even more important. And likely, like, I won't do that with people that I haven't spent a good amount of time in lead up sessions with. Some people come because they really want to experience something different when connecting with masculinity. And so we're gonna be taking a trip. We're gonna be going. We're gonna be doing things together, hanging out together, being together, right? It's gonna have a lot of time one on one with a masculine that isn't going to hurt them, and maybe that's never happened to them before. So that's going to give them an opportunity to rewire the nervous system and to recognize that, oh, that's possible. It's possible for me to engage with the masculine without coming away being hurt. It's also important that we are ready to work through when they do get triggered, because that will happen, right? You're not going to embark on this journey of trying to rewire your nervous system through exposure and never hit a trigger. It in some ways is kind of the point. It's important to have a plan of like what happens then? What are we going to do then to make sure that they can be in a place where they can be helped through that triggering experience, while also continuing to feel safe, right? If that means they need to retreat for a while and they need a space to be able to retreat to and be alone for a while, that's what we do. If they really need that masculine to not leave, right? Don't leave me in this state. And that's what we do. There's other clients that are not necessarily looking for so much of that healing as they are wanting to explore more of who they are. And so they're wanting to kind of branch out, want to try on a different version of themselves. It's almost more of this exploratory, fun centered way of being than it is like the healing way of being where we're being very sensitive to trauma. In this case, it's more of like, all right, what do you want to try? What do you want to experience? And let's craft that. We don't know what these new experiences are going to bring up for somebody. So again, being careful to make sure, okay, if there's a place where we need to pause, what is the process that we're going to go through to help you through when difficulties come up? Because that's all a part of the process. And as you learn new things about yourself on the retreat, we're going to integrate those and go, okay, so how does this affect how you live? Like, what identities are you taking from this experience back into your real life? When I say real life, I don't mean it in the same way you do, because to me, these one-on-one retreats sometimes are not real life. This is a step away from real life to be able to process and to experience and to grow, to get some things that I need, maybe try on a new identity, maybe put on a new identity, and then I'm gonna take some things from that and I'm gonna take it back to my real life so that I can be different and I can show up differently in the real world.
There's a progression. Even if a client relationship starts virtually, that progression to IRL, um, creates a lot of opportunities for the work to deepen.
One basic practice that is just very connecting, that a few different modalities use is eye gazing. And so you might say, we're gonna stare in each other's eyes for, you might start with like 30 seconds to break someone in to the concept, right? Or we might go 2 minutes, right? Or maybe we'll go for like 10 minutes if we really want to go deep. And there's always that sense of like, ooh, this is really awkward. You're like looking at my eyes and I'm not okay. And then eventually there's like this tension, and then it's kind of like, oh, I'm feeling the vulnerability. And then eventually that fades away into like, okay, but we're breathing now. Okay. And I'm gonna become comfortable here with you in this moment. Doing that virtually, it's really hard. It's really hard. And in real life, it's so much better. I really enjoy it when you can use that practice when there's also physical contact. So whether that's you're joining hands in addition to locking eyes, or maybe you're sitting in yum yum and so you're physically holding each other while maintaining the eye contact. both of those just add extended layers to the connection and to what's happening. Because now I'm not only with you in eyes contact, right? With our eyes joining, but I'm actually feeling maybe your pulse in your hands. I'm feeling when your hands start to get sweaty and when they dry out, and I'm feeling the warmth of your body. And if I'm holding you, I'm feeling your shoulders tense. I'm feeling you relax. I'm feeling your breath come in and out of you as well. And so there's just a lot more layers to what connection is possible when you're in person with somebody.
And I'm sure that you're able to help others work through their triggers a lot more effectively in person.
A panic attack happens, and though we understand that there's a lot of anxiety inducing that, and it's being triggered by a memory or whatever the case may be for a specific person, um, but the reality is it's something very physical happening right now in your body. Yes, there's some things that we can talk through and we can remember, but more often than not, if someone is experiencing a panic attack um, during an online session with me, I'm not going to talk to them about things that they know. I'm going to be giving some kind of guidance of look around the room, feel your feet on the floor. Notice your feet getting heavy on the floor, grounding you to the earth like you are here. Find something you can reach out and touch. Find something that you can hug. If I'm with someone while they're having a panic attack, um, it's not always the case, but my knee-jerk reaction tends to be to give physical touch and invite them to breathe with me. And they can feel that. They can feel that difference. We're just being with as they experience it. Because in the midst of anxiety, I think even more so than wanting the anxiety to go away, you don't want to be alone.
You are deeply embodied and live very much from the heart. How do you bring your full self to others in intentional IRL settings?
The short answer is that I live by a philosophy that says that's not always appropriate and that shouldn't always happen. There's parts of you that are not safe to bring to certain people or to share with certain people. That's what boundaries are for. I have a very strong default to offer connection with almost anyone that as deep as you want to go, I'm here for it. And until I'm proven otherwise, I'm gonna assume that you have a heart that just desires the connection. And as deep as you want to go, I'm here for it.
You're midnight at Jungle Fire. You're fully present. What does that look like? It's not a fair question.
It's not a fair question.
Jungle Fire. How does being in nature change how you show up?
Nature is the space that was my solace and my sanctuary as a kid. The okayness that a 10-year-old feels as they are playing in the woods building forts. Like I get to go there. That's where my nervous system goes when I get into the woods. And I'm like, yes, everything's fine. The rest of the world is burning out there, but I'm in the woods, so we are fine. I feel so much more grounded. The kinds of conversations you have at night around a campfire would never happen anywhere else. Anywhere else. We're all kind of slightly shrouded in darkness. We only know we exist because we can see the faint glow from the fire, but we're not looking at each other at all. All we're looking at is the burning flames, and we're hearing so and so talk. And then we're sharing our stories that relate to that, but it's almost as if we're sharing it to the fire. It's conversations and things you wouldn't have in a coffee shop. Around the campfire, stories come out. And so I think we let the guard down and it's just like, oh, yeah, the trees are okay. So am I. We're good.
The fire burns off any of the energy, anxiety, anxious energy
Mm,
that might be attendant to saying something vulnerable.
I like that. I like that. I can get behind that.
Let's flip the script. Say something totally unhinged about the power of connecting IRL.
The power of connecting IRL is a exponentially larger sensual experience because I cannot engage all of my senses, right? If we're talking virtually, it's not just exchange of information, it's a exchange of a sensation. We're exchanging the sensation of voice, we're exchanging the sensation of sight. In person, well, whether it's intentional or not, there are certain smells that go along with people. So there's the sense of smell that is involved, right? Like it's just kind of like there. And so that could be an okay thing for some people, it could be not okay thing for some people, but like it's there. That's a sense that is being engaged. We can reach out and we can actually touch each other, engaging some of those physical senses. As I become aware of either your pulse or how you're breathing and some of those connection holds that we were talking about, like that's actually even some was even another sense of like being aware of what's happening internally in your body. Just more and more senses that can be engaged, and the more those are engaged, it heightens the level of connection that's possible.
What's your favorite type of IRL experience?
I tend to be a person that does best in small groups, one on one, one on two. Once we hit five, that's a little much for me. One on two in nature, just exploring close enough relationship that there's just no shame. Like we're gonna say what we want. We're gonna go skinny dipping in the creek. We're gonna like do whatever we want, and it's gonna be just kind of like playtime. We're gonna go play and not worry about the rest of the world for a while. It's more vulnerable. You can't turn off the screen. If someone is getting like aroused or very attracted to someone, there's that nervous system like build up there, and it's kind of like, ooh, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't want to scare them away, but like, and this whole thing happens. If that happens online, like you can kind of hide behind the screen. In real life, you don't really hide that very well, right? So it's kind of there and you have to deal with it. I like talking about it, right? Like I like to bring that up. I don't like to leave the elephant in the room. I like to just say the thing. I kind of think it's fun when someone gets uncomfortable like that. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, tell me about that. Like, what are you feeling over there? That's cool. There's no shame.
You enjoy the awkward pauses that are unavoidable in IRL.
Yes, yes. Just like I'll just sit and listen. Is there more you want to say about that?
Mark Cox. It's
Yes.
been lovely. A lovely, lovely time, albeit remotely. It's time for us to get back up and go to IRL. I hope you have a beautiful day.
You as well.
Say jungle
Ow.
fire.
Jungle fire.
Say it again.
Jungle fire.